Alright, what's this video here? Ashenvale is finally fixed. Okay.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Java Monkey J. Today, dude, I rolled out of bed and saw something that just absolutely sent me.
Okay.
In case you've been living under a bridge, Season of Discovery has been out for a little more than a month now, and there's been quite a few updates specifically to Ashenvale PvP. You can find these on Wowhead. Wowhead keeps track of these things called blue posts, and basically these are just updates from the devs about the game. So a lot of the time you'll see balance updates here, or just realm changes, or ability interactions, or
they've been really good with updating people for SOD, actually.
Whatever. But this morning, I got this notification and I'm thinking, hell yeah, dude, blue post update. Let's go get some content, baby.
Okay.
But instead, I just saw this. January 2nd, 2024, Season of Discovery.
Oh, really?
2 additional spirit healers will be present during the battle for Ashenvale in the northwest of the zone. And
wait, I actually didn't know that. Wait, I didn't hear about this before just now. That's actually kind of cool. Wait, 2 additional spirit healers will be present. It's because it was really annoying when you died in the northwestern part of the zone, up at like the Soramagar strand, or like, you know, back where you, like around Astronar-ish, you would be sent all the way up to the northern part, basically like in Darkshore. Wait, that's kind of cool actually. I like that. That's real nice.
Of the zone.
Yeah, that's good.
This just sent me for one major reason.
Okay.
Everyone knows what this reason is. I think it's a pretty unanimous feeling amongst the community. But Blizzard just keeps dropping the ball on Ashenvale, man. The event sucks. It's not fun to play. It was broken as hell on release, and overall, just adding 2 more spirit healers on the map, who cares? Really, it's like putting a band-aid on your arm after it's been cut off by a sword. Like, what are we doing, you know? It's just so out of touch. And
I think I do know, I know a lot of people are flaming very, very hard on Ashenvale event and stuff like that, but ultimately it's also just kind of like a player thing. Like, if there's a way to, like, you know, farm it the most efficiently way, like getting rep the most efficient way, people will do it. They are not gonna do PvP if that's the least efficient way of doing it, right? I saw actually a person suggest something which kind of resonated a little bit with me in some ways, right? Which was, whenever the Ashenvale event was up, you know, you get rep by killing the small little ads on the bosses. What would be quite cool to incentivize a little bit more PvP could be to actually, like, have people give rep when you kill them. So, like, whenever the Ashenvale event was up, doing, like, PvP and killing players in the zone would give you a little bit of Warsong rep, which could, you know, incentivize people to actually go out and seek more PvP when the event is activated. You know what I mean? But again, it's also a little bit of a problem with the server stability of it. Like, the layers are really bad. You keep getting layered back and forth between different Ashenvale layers. The event is bugged. It goes up and down with the progression. It's quite bad in many ways because it's just not built for that many people to be around. It would incentivize people selling honor for real money. I mean, I don't know. Then, I mean, I don't think that's really like a big issue, honestly. Like, I don't think that would be like selling like honorable kills for that. I don't know, if it was a very, very little amount of rep, but you killed a hard player, right? Let's say you're Alliance, the Ashenvale event starts, there's a hard player, you kill him, you gain 1 rep with Warsong, right? I don't know, that could be kind of cool, but don't you just end up getting honor/rep trading, especially now that they have Ghost Reser, so people would just cam those and then trade raid from ones to hours? I mean, I guess you're right, and I suppose this leads up to like another take I suppose I'm about to give, is that like maybe we are just the issue, chat. They could release the most perfect game ever, and we as players would ruin it because the way that the game is played is always to effectivize the most efficient ways of playing, right? You know? The players are the issue because they will always find a way to abuse it. Yeah. It's the streamers. You know what? True. Frick the streamers.
For those that don't know, when Ashenvale was originally released, there was a huge problem with layer swapping to get
that was a big problem.
A ton of rep very quickly through the event. It was essentially an exploit, and it made anyone not doing it feel like it was a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Blizzard fixed this. They fixed it quickly. They combined the status clock for Ashenvale events across all layers, and now most events happen around the same time, and it's a lot harder to layer abuse the system to farm a bunch of rep.
At least.
It's still possible, but it's mostly been fixed. That was a big W. And Blizzard also acted quickly for many other issues regarding Ashenvale.
They in general, they have been really responsive with fixing stuff in SOD. I will give them that. I know there's still a bunch of bots around the area, and there's still some buggy stuff with Ashenvale, but they have been really, really good with constantly nerfing hunters, which I think is a big W for Blizzard, for sure. What's up, Asher?
They fixed leashing issues with some of the lieutenants. Ooh. They fixed rep rewards so that if you compete in the event, you actually get something out of it each time. They fixed the Zerg strat where people were just sending 120-man groups to the final boss to Zerg down the boss as quickly as possible and getting max rep, making the event less than 2 minutes long, where originally it was scheduled for approximately 30 minutes. So they've come a long way in sort of keeping the integrity of the original idea of the Ashenvale PvP event intact and free of crazy or game-breaking bugs and exploits, which is awesome. But even after all of these changes and fixes to the game mode still sucks.
Okay.
So much so that I don't think anyone would actually play the game mode if it wasn't for the insane amount of rep that comes from winning. I mean,
in many ways, there needs to be some sort of an incentive for people to do certain things, right? Same thing with, okay, would you guys all raid if there was no loot? If you got nothing out of it? There was no loot, nothing. You just raided for fun. I think a lot of people wouldn't. And there needs to be incentives to do things, and the incentive is to rep and a little bit honor, right? That's what it is, right? Maybe once, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I mean, perhaps some people probably would, but incentives in terms of, either like in-game currency or, rep or rewards is a big part of what drives people to do things in games, right? I just play Lost Ark. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes, right? So, like, I wonder if he's going to suggest some fixes to the Ashenvale stuff, though. I would be interested to hear that. It's because he would get rid of idiots who raid only because of loot. Are you calling him an idiot?
It's hardly even a PvP encounter. It's essentially a PvP encounter where you are open world speedrunning 3 bosses, then killing a final boss before the enemy faction can. Okay. The most amount of PvP in this game mode is the PvP you get from grabbing 20 of your buddies and camping a road in between the 2 towns in the zone. It's
okay, I will just say though, all things aside, the build up to the event starting is what incentivizes a lot of really cool world PvP though. Because the PvP isn't really in the battle itself. It's to farm the players that leads up to the battle starting. Because for the battle to start, you need to actually do PvP. You need to like kill players and stuff like that in Ashenvale for it to begin. So all the PvP that you can get is actually like prior to the event even beginning. So I think that's actually really big. And I think a lot of people constantly dismiss that. That is like, oh, well, the event sucks. There's no PvP. No, the PvP is before the event, right? We just hosted 3 races to fight against 2 Alliance and Living Flames just for fun multiple times. That's awesome. That's really cool. There's no way it actually works like that. You need to do things around Ashenvale for it to start. And one of those things is killing players in PvP. If a Horde player kills Alliance, then it incentivizes, it like increases the thing for it to start. It triggers the thingamajig. You can also just kill mobs and do stuff around in the zone, but regardless, that also incentivizes PvP, because that means that there's going to be more people around the area, right? Because there will be more people just like running around Ashenvale. So that's good. You can kill mobs and trigger events. So where is PvP? PvP is running around and killing a player in an open world environment, and because there's more people running around in that open world environment trying to do quests and kill mobs, there will be more PvP, right? That's how it works. I promise you the masses would not like the Ashenvale PvP event if it would last long as fuck either. The same goes for the original ADs that lasted for days, and some instances it's not really fun for after a while. Yeah, I think overall the Ashenvale event was quite successful in many ways, even though it is incredibly bugged, right? In many ways, I suppose. You can add 2 runes in Ashenvale and remove bosses. World PvP. 2 runes in I'm not sure what that would do necessarily. Kind of like reward to complete 100% for your fraction. Yeah, I don't know.
Really,
I think that's a good point, though.
It's bad, man. Blizzard doesn't need to add new spirit healers to the game to make it more enjoyable. All adding the spirit healers does is make walking back to your body after you die even faster, which in this game mode is fine because really there isn't enough contention from the enemy factions on the boss for this to even matter.
Fair
what
enough.
I mean by that is think back to Overwatch 1 in a 2 capture point situation, where once the point you are capturing becomes extremely close to the enemy team's respawn point, you get this really frustrating match sometimes where the enemy team reses so fast that there is an inherent stall meta and a significant advantage that comes from being able to respawn so quickly. I don't think this will be a problem for WoW, so there's really no...
That's how it works in Altruic Valley too. You reach like a choke point where like the Horde or Alliance players, especially Alliance at the bridge, can just like hold that point, right? And then it'll just lead up to a turtle, basically. But that's just how it works with those kind of things, right? I'm intrigued to see how they would do the event that were supposedly, allegedly to be in Stranglethorn Vale, where there's going to be like some sort of like a domination thing with like certain, you know, capture points, or how they'll do it, right? They need to switch the places where Lieutenant respawns, make it impossible to avoid PvP. Or you mean like randomizing the spawns a little bit more, instead of having them be Soramgor Strand, you know, down at the Catapult and the Moonglade? That's an interesting point. That could work, but yeah. Horde Twin Towers are worse than the bridge if Horde decides to turtle. Oh yeah, for sure. What I mean is that there's just a lot of choke points in Altruic Valley as well.
No downside of adding more spirit healers, but I really don't see enough of a benefit either. Saving you a couple minutes from walking back, I mean, it's just a convenience thing, you know?
But that's nice though. Having convenience in a PvP event like that, I think is good. I personally like that. I think adding those spirit healers is a W though, overall.
The real changes we want to see to this game mode are ways to make it actually fun. I want to get a notification on the Blue Post tracker and read something on the lines of, "We know Ashenvale is boring and sucks." So we completely overhauled the game mode, and now Ashenvale works like this. More spirit.
But how though? How would you make it work in a way that would be fun and intuitive and not have players abuse it? You can't. I really think you cannot do that, because people will find the most efficient way of doing it. It's the same thing in Warzone Goals with premates. People will throw games just to get more honor fast, right? They will, okay, we fight a premate. Oh, guys, let's just give up and let the other people win so that we can get into a new game, right? The random boss spawn would be good. I agree with that. I actually think that's quite an interesting way of doing it. So like having the boss spawns be random around Ashenvale instead of having them fixed always. I think that could be a good idea. I also think adding more spirit healers is actually good as well. I also think they shouldn't focus too hard on making the Ashenvale event as good as possible, because but I think what they should do though is take from Ashenvale and implement future game modes and learn from those, right? So like, you know, take what they learned from Ashenvale and then implement it better in the next like big open world PvP event, right? So like let the STV, if there's STV, like just make that better then, right? Less lag would be nice. That is definitely my biggest complaint about the whole thing, that it is quite laggy, but you know, yeah, that's a different conversation, I suppose. Arathi Highlands is the new event, not STV. I would actually love it if they did Arathi Highlands, not STV. Personally, I think STV is quite good as it is, and Arathi Highlands would make for a perfect open world PvP event instead of STV. Because I think STV is already hectic enough as it is, but yeah.
Healers are not going to fix the fundamental problems with the game mode. We need to address the problems of, one, WoW has never been good for open world massive PvP. It's always laggy.
Yeah,
it's
fair.
always exploitable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel fun. The combat just isn't made for that. Maybe
okay, listen, the combat is Classic WoW is a great open world PvP game if it doesn't lag. Like managing two massive groups and going in and fighting each other is so fun. It is incredibly fun if it doesn't lag. All right, that's the main thing. What's up, Nico? Hopefully having a happy day today, mate. What's up, Kasey, as well? Yes. Well, World PvP on private servers were amazing. I agree. Yeah, I agree. The way that a lot of private servers, they handled the open world lag was they reduced the draw distance in certain like contested zones, right? If there was a lot of players within a certain area, the draw distance would be a little bit reduced, so like you'll be able to like play more without lagging, right? But that also like have some other drawbacks, obviously.
Battle of Ashenvale should have just been instanced, or they should have created a completely different concept of the Battle of Ashenvale.
Okay.
Maybe one that focuses more on PvP. Speaking of which, there is no PvP in the Battle of Ashenvale.
Again, the PvP is leading up to the battle. There is a lot of PvP in Ashenvale. Okay, and if you disagree, you probably haven't run through Ashenvale too much, right? No, it's not. 5v5 is max fun. Everything else is just chaos. But there's a fun thing in the chaos. And again, fun is subjective. But I do believe big open world battles with massive like armies is fun. To me, at least, and to a lot of other people. But fun is definitely subjective. Some people don't enjoy it, and that's completely okay. Right? It feels cool to be being a part of a massive battle in an MMO. Right? I like that a lot. Like the battle we had against the Silver Hand, you know, when we went over to Wetlands with my guild quota, and then we ran into the Silver Hand, and there was a massive battle on the bridge. That was insanely fun. Imagine having an MMO in an actual MMORPG. Exactly, yeah.
Speedrun World PvE event. It's not some massive open world PvP encounter at all. You rarely clash with the enemy team, and no one ever defends in this game mode. It doesn't make sense to. You're not incentivized to do that, and it's a damn shame. They need to find a way to actually make this feel like a PvP event, specifically a large-scale open world one. So, the next blue post I see about Ashenvale, I need it to address one of these issues.
Okay.
Not put a band-aid on an open wound. I want to see massive changes to the event to make it actually fun, especially if they're expecting it to still be an active event in later phases of Season of Discovery. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm cooked or not. Like and subscribe.
Okay, I will say, I like Java Monkey a lot, and I think a lot of his videos are great, but I do think he's a little bit cooked, okay, in this video particularly. Because I think overall, the reception for Ashenvale has been quite, you know, welcoming in many ways. I think the PvP is quite good leading up to the battle. Obviously, there were some issues that needs to be addressed with it, but I think they should probably take the information from those that they gathered from the event and implement them better into the future. You know, just make glaive point closer to each other so you're forced to PvP. I like the idea of randomizing the points, so like you wouldn't know like which point would be Horde or which point would be Alliance. So you would have to be like, oh shit, we gotta go over here, and then like you meet Alliance on the way, right? Imagine if every single spawn point of the bases were random. That could be kind of cool. I also think the adding more spirit healers was also quite nice as well. I do enjoy that too. I think that would be a way of incentivizing PvP. I also think maybe some sort of like a domination event could be quite sick, but I just don't know how it would be implemented quite well, because it is difficult to implement a good, well PvP event where people wouldn't just abuse it for the most amount of gain possible and the least amount of PvP. If people get rep for each honor kill, defending boss would be cool to defend. Yeah, that's what I said as well, right? Having some sort of a gain from killing players would be quite cool, like a very small amount of rep maybe, or like something like that. Ashenvale would be nice if the servers weren't shit and I would lag out so frequently. That's very true as well. Having to defend was the point Java made. Defending creates more PvP battles. In my experience, there's actually been a lot of instances where we go as Horde and Alliance comes in and defends the base so they can like get a lead on the other boss. I think it's happened quite a lot. It doesn't happen every single game, but there is some times where, you know, the opposite faction comes in and defends, which makes for some fun battles. But overall, interesting video. I think I would like to see like some of his solutions that he could come up with for this to be fixed. And I would like to see how they're going to be implementing it in the future PvP, open world PvP thing, whether it's in STV or Arathi Highlands, right? Keeping the bosses from being killed for a certain time would give rep to nearby people. Yeah, that could be a way of doing it as well. Yeah, like having like incentivize people to defend, right? So like you could like gain something out of defending as well. Fraction that loses race usually goes for defense. Yeah, exactly. First to kill certain amount of players, etc. Like 1,000, and first faction to reach 0. Ah, so you mean like an event where you need to kill an amount of players to win? So instead of having it like kill a bunch of bosses, that could be an interesting event as well. What if there was some zones like in the world? Whenever the event would start, there would be like certain zones where you would have to go and then kill people within that little zone to gain like kill points, and then whoever gets the most kill points within those zones would like progress into another zone, right? And then you would have to go into that zone and kill a bunch of players there. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you can do it, and there's a lot of ways you can actually incentivize PvP, right?